Let's begin today's story on Malachor. The rebels, along with Ahsoka, were trying to find a way to eliminate the Inquisitors. But when Ezra found himself on the brink of the knowledge they sought, Lord Vader appeared and caused major disruptions, advancing towards Ezra. Ahsoka arrived at the perfect moment, saving Ezra from Vader as she ignited her twin blades and swung for the Sith Lord. She had an inkling that this mechanical man was her former master. This was until Ahsoka's blade slashed across Vader's mask, revealing the man underneath. Beneath the mask, Ahsoka gazed into the eyes of Anakin Skywalker. In that moment, she realized that her old master was not entirely gone, buried beneath the dark facade of Darth Vader. She hesitated, stunned by the revelation, as Anakin's original voice filled the air. He struggled to breathe without his respirator. Tears welled up in Ahsoka's eyes as she looked at him, explaining that she won't leave him, not this time. Her words cut through the tension, and for a brief moment, Vader hesitated. Could he really kill Ahsoka, the one person he had left from his old life? As he struggled with his conflicting emotions, memories of Ahsoka flooded his mind. The countless hours they spent training together, defending each other's lives on the battlefield, and the moment he had failed her, causing her to leave the Jedi Order. He remembered the profound pain he had felt when he let her down, but also the promise he had made to himself never to fail her again. Suddenly, the collapsing Sith temple began to fall upon them both. Vader, or rather Anakin, reached out through the Force, pulling Ahsoka close. With a powerful surge of Force, one only the Chosen One could have generated, created an escape route through the floor, and they descended to safety. Other rebels who had been on the planet, such as Kanan and Ezra, successfully escaped the explosion, while Ahsoka and Vader found themselves beneath the temple. As they cleared away the rubble, Ahsoka looked into Vader's eyes. Anakin has returned after 15 years and broke away from Darth Vader. Anakin could hardly speak, with tears welling in his eyes. He apologized immensely for all he had done under the dark side's influence and thanked Ahsoka for bringing him back. As they look to their left, they see Morai, the embodiment of the light side. Morai guides the two to an underground stream, and as they step into it, everything went white as they are teleported to the world between worlds. It is here that both of them undergo a spiritual journey. The whispers of the Force echoed around them, and the world was filled with shimmering portals depicting moments from the past, present, and future. Ahsoka and Vader gazed at the portals, each one revealing fragments of their shared history. They saw their earlier days as master and apprentice, battles fought, victories achieved, and losses endured. Anakin's eyes were drawn to one particular portal, showing Palpatine sitting in his office, manipulating each little detail to his liking. Vader's eyes were flickering with anguish as he watched Palpatine's influence unfold before him. He watched him all the way back before the Clone Wars had begun, with his master Darth Plagueis pulling each string to make him Chancellor. His meetings with Count Dooku, carefully coercing him to the dark side, but most painfully, the constant manipulation of himself since he entered the Jedi Temple. They walked past a portal which clearly depicted Palpatine planting the dreams of Padme and his mother dying, clearly showcasing how long Palpatine had been manipulating each event. His manipulation was exemplified, and as Anakin felt his rage surge, he felt Ahsoka's hand meet his as she calms him down. Anakin stares into her eyes. He admits that she has always been there for him no matter what, and he couldn't have become Anakin again if they were never reunited. Anakin takes his robotic limb and strokes Ahsoka's face as she stares up at him, smiling into the eyes of the man she once knew. He explains that she has been the missing piece in his life since they parted, and that he doesn't think he can continue living without her in his life. Ahsoka is taken aback, but can't argue with what he is saying. She has missed him more than she ever thought possible. Ahsoka has always felt that it wasn't normal to feel this way when someone leaves your life. In this moment in the world between worlds, the two confess that they love one another. They slowly lean in, close their eyes, and kiss. The two of them shared a profound moment. Their love and care for one another strengthened as they let go of the past and focus on the future. Vader's realization that Palpatine had fabricated much of his life was a turning point, and the darkness that had engulfed his life slowly began to dissipate. Hand in hand, Ahsoka and Vader stepped out of the world between worlds, leaving the past behind. For Anakin, it was Padme, and now he embraced his future with Ahsoka, where they would fight not as Jedi and Sith, but as allies against the dark forces of evil. From here, the two came up with their plan, similar to how they would almost 2 decades ago during the time of the Clone Wars. They decided that Ahsoka would go back to the Rebels and Vader would rejoin the Empire, becoming a double agent of sorts for the Rebellion. This was a risky task to attempt, but one that could score them major victories against Palpatine and the Empire. As the days turned into weeks, Vader would privately contact Ahsoka and tell her about the Empire's movements, indicating where in the galaxy they are focusing on next and ways for the Rebellion to avoid any mishaps. In the Rebels' headquarters, Ahsoka did not release where she was getting this information from, as claiming Lord Vader was on their side was both risky as it could be leaked, but more importantly, the Rebels wouldn't like it and would never trust him. But Vader's information always checked out. He warned the Rebels about the construction of the Death Star and his devastating capabilities. Currently, this story is set in 3 BBY, meaning that the Death Star has not completed its construction, giving the Rebels time to prepare for its counterattack. But as Vader continued to supply his lover with information, he realized that it wasn't doing anything. If he really wanted to cause a crack in the Empire, they needed something more powerful. He asked Ahsoka to go and find Obi-Wan, knowing for a fact that he was still alive and somewhere in the galaxy. Ahsoka hadn't seen Obi-Wan in some time and didn't know where he could be, but she begins to look for him. She followed leads all across the galaxy, knowing that he could be anywhere. This leads her to Alderaan, where she asks Bail Organa, an old friend of hers, where Obi-Wan could be. Bail knew that he could trust Ahsoka and told her that Obi-Wan was hiding on Tatooine. She flew to Tatooine and found old Ben Kenobi in the desert wasteland. Reuniting with her old friend, she caught him up to speed, telling him everything about what recently happened on Malachor and with Anakin. Obi-Wan was taken aback and had tears filling his eyes. As they went on a walk, he motioned his arms and pointed towards a small hut in the middle of nowhere, explaining that he had someone for her to meet. Ahsoka walked alongside him, her heart heavy with knowledge of the immense responsibility they were about to begin. Luke Skywalker, the son of Anakin Skywalker, was to begin his Jedi training. With some convincing, Owen allows Luke to leave with them and begin his training in the Force. Luke was 16 years old at this point and already had a strong affinity to the Force. And so, under the twin suns of Tatooine, Luke's training began. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were to train him together, instilling all of their knowledge into the boy. Their training sessions were grueling, with Luke learning the basics of the Force, lightsaber combat, and controlling his emotions. He proved to be a quick learner, like his father, mastering the Force with an innate connection that rivaled the Chosen One. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were amazed by his rapid progress. Luke's connection to the Force was incredibly strong, and his ability to sense and manipulate it was uncanny. He could move objects with ease, using the Force to lift rocks and perform feats of telekinesis that were well beyond what they had expected. As for lightsaber training, Luke's proficiency was nothing short of extraordinary. His dueling abilities were undertaken with the Form 5 fighting style known as Dem So. Ahsoka in particular was impressed with Luke's determination and spirit. She saw shadows of Anakin in him, but his determination was tempered with a sense of pride and humility that he learned from his side on Tatooine. Luke was built into a formidable force, one that the Empire would have to become extremely worried about. Ahsoka had kept Vader up to date with everything, including the discovery of Obi-Wan and his son Luke. This only made Vader's vengeance for Palpatine grow. After everything he had put him through, it turned out he had a son this entire time. Vader couldn't face his own son unless he undid his wrongs and defeated the Emperor. This realization caused Vader to increase his activity as a double agent. He began going to places he shouldn't go, asking questions he shouldn't, and as time went on, the Empire began losing battles and positions in the galaxy when there was no reason for their losses. The Empire lost control of Ryloth after the rebellion was able to hack Imperial comm systems and draw Imperial forces away, allowing them to launch a full-scale invasion, causing absolute devastation, wiping any presence of Imperials on the world. Situations like this became much more frequent, and Palpatine deduced that he had a traitor amongst his ranks. Sidious had his suspicions on who the spy may be, knowing that only one man was given such high-level information. To test his theory, he baited Vader by beginning a false operation for the invasion of Lothal, knowing the importance of the planet to the rebels and in particular, the Jedi Ezra Bridger. Vader was told that he would lead this operation into the planet, but before this invasion had even begun, an entire rebellion fleet was situated in the Lothal system, meaning that Vader had told the rebels of this, revealing him as the true traitor. Palpatine was absolutely furious after he learned of Vader's betrayal, but he wasn't at all surprised. He had expected it for some time now. In retaliation, he summons his apprentice and unsuspectingly blasts him with Force lightning, causing Vader to drop to his knees and scream in agony. Sidious didn't stop his torment until Vader fell unconscious. He was immediately taken to a secure prison on Fortress Inquisitorius. This is a prison for Jedi, and now Vader would be held there and tortured by Sidious for the rest of his days. Back on Tatooine, Ahsoka hadn't heard from her lover in almost a month. In the past, they had never gone more than 3 days without speaking. She was extremely worried and was explaining this to Luke and Obi-Wan. Luke was firm on wanting to save his father. He could sense through the Force that something horrible had happened to him. His masters agreed. Obi-Wan interjects and explains that if he was discovered as a spy, there is only one place that could hold someone as strong in the Force as Anakin. He knows this because he himself has been to this prison almost 10 years earlier. Fortress Inquisitorius, known for housing Force users and Jedi. The three embark on a journey to save Vader. Kenobi remembered his previous mission to this location, where he saved little Princess Leia from the grips of evil. He still hadn't told Ahsoka or Luke that Anakin had another child. It had been eating him up inside, and he knew he had to reveal the truth. Before the three landed at the fortress, he sat them both down and explained that Anakin's wife Padme had given birth to twins. A son named Luke, as he pointed towards Luke, but also a daughter whom she named Leia. They were both immediately taken aback. Luke had a twin sister, but it didn't matter now. What mattered was saving their father, lover, and old friend. They landed at the fortress and entered as swiftly and quietly as possible. Using navigators inside the fortress, they were able to figure out which level the Force prison cells were on. As they exited the elevator and arrived on the desired floor, the three Jedi were greeted by two Inquisitors, taking guard of Vader's detention. Standing there, they could faintly hear the mechanical screams that were coming from Anakin's lungs. They were in the right place. As the Inquisitors ignited their crimson lightsabers, Luke told Obi-Wan and Ahsoka to leave him and he will fight this battle. They tried to protest, but they couldn't waste any time. They had trained Luke for this exact moment. Ahsoka and Obi-Wan moved past the Inquisitors and entered the cell where Vader was being kept. As they entered, they saw sapphire sparks spitting onto Vader's mechanical limbs as the tyrannical laughter emitted from Sidious's lips. He was loving every second of this, until he turned around and saw the old Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka Tano, two people whom he never thought he would see again. His smirk disappeared and was filled with burning hatred. He ignited his stark red lightsaber and attacked the Jedi. Their lightsabers clashed with the Emperor's relentless strikes. This was light versus dark, and could be the final hope for the galaxy. Sidious's eyes were burning a deathly yellow as he leaped from object to object, attempting to find any way past the Jedi's defenses. His dark side power was overwhelming, and he was able to leap forward and slash Kenobi across the leg before impaling him through the stomach, causing the old master to drop to the floor dead. Ahsoka screamed as she saw the blade enter Obi-Wan's abdomen, and his death was imminent. Tears flooded her cheek as she continued to fight on, her resolve unwavering. But Sidious was a force of nature. His malevolent laughter filled the room as he closed in on her, relentless in his pursuit. It was in that dire moment, with Ahsoka on the verge of defeat, when a brilliant light emerged. Luke Skywalker arrived, marching atop the dead corpses of the Inquisitors he had made light work of. The Chosen One's son was wielding the Force in ways they had never seen. He blocked the Emperor's blade and saved Ahsoka's life. The battle resumed, with Luke taking Obi-Wan's place. Luke channeled his Chosen One power and became the turning point in the duel. The combined strength of generations of Jedi, each holding their own strong connection to the Force, proved overwhelming for the Sith Lord. In the end, it was Luke who struck the decisive blow, ending Sidious's reign of terror and bringing an end to the Dark Era. As Luke watched his blade kill Sidious, Ahsoka stormed over to Vader, slicing his handcuffs off and leaping straight onto him. As Anakin and Ahsoka were reunited once again, they shared their first kiss in months, knowing that they were going to spend the rest of their lives together. When Ahsoka parted from Anakin, Luke stared up at that man he had been told was his father. Tears reached Vader's eyes as he hugged his son for the first time, his final connection to his old life with Padme Amidala. The Empire would be disbanded shortly after this, with it crumbling quickly without the leadership of Palpatine and the fast movements of the rebellion. In its stead, the New Republic was created under the leadership of the new Supreme Chancellor Mon Mothma. With the knowledge that Obi-Wan shared with Luke before his death, the father and son set out to meet Leia. The reunion was filled with bittersweet emotions, as Leia, having been raised on Alderaan, had no idea of her alternate past, but she was open to the idea after her adoptive father Bail Organa explained everything to her, mentioning the heroics of her father Anakin during the Clone Wars and beautiful mother Padme. Vader, while not fully welcomed by the New Republic, had found his redemption in the love and acceptance of his children, and it didn't matter that the galaxy couldn't fully forgive him for his past deeds. Together, they moved to the outskirts of Alderaan, where the rolling hills and lush landscape provided refuge from the scars of warfare. Ahsoka and Vader found the peace they had been longing for, a world free from the burdens of the Sith and the Jedi. Their love had transcended the boundaries of light and dark, and they lived together. Their love was the strongest thing in the galaxy. In this quiet corner of the galaxy, Ahsoka and Vader finally found their happily ever after. A life where they could be happy knowing that they have finally found the love that they deserve. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check out one of the videos on screen now. Let me know what video I should make next, and may the Force be with you.